Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Dramatic Knits podcast. My name is Steve, and today is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. This is episode 418. Thank you so much if you're a returning viewer for coming back and checking out today's episode. And if you're new, I hope you enjoy what you see and click the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so you can catch all of my monthly updates, not only in the world of knitting and crafting, but also in cross stitch for my floss tube episodes. So it has been 2 months since I've sat down and chatted with you all. Last month was a whirlwind. We were gone for 17 days on our fall yarn tour, which I'm going to do a separate video about for our Patreon subscribers, recapping the whole 2.5-week event. So I'm not going to go into too much detail of that, but I thought I would quickly go over all the travels that we've been on over the last 2 months, and hence why I haven't had the time to sit down and record and chat with you all. Throughout the months of September and October, Leading Men Fiber Arts, which is the indie yarn dyeing company that my partner Andy and myself own, along with our brick and mortar store here, Leading Men Fiber Arts, located in Clinton, Illinois. We have been all over the Midwest and the East over the past 2 months. So in September, we were up in Wisconsin for the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival, which is always a lovely event, a highlight of our year. And we got to see many, many, many wonderful friends, and didn't get to snap nearly enough photos, but we did get a lot of great pictures with some of our friends. We then, the following week or somewhere around there, we went to Cincinnati to do a trunk show at Hank, a yarn boutique. We did leave about a day early so that we could go to the Cincinnati Zoo. I had heard that it was a wonderful zoo, which it was. So Andy and I took the morning of the day we were going to set up and do our preview party at the yarn store to go to the Cincinnati Zoo, which was a great time. I posted a bunch of photos and videos on our Instagram if you're interested in seeing that. It was nice to take some personal time, go out and explore the world and have some not yarn, not work-related adventures while we're on the road. Then at the end of September, our local Apple and Pork Festival happened here in Clinton, and it was a great weekend. We were open on the Saturday here in the store, and we had a lot of wonderful visitors in during that weekend. And then, like I said, we went on our fall tour. We went up into New York and then down to into Tennessee, North Carolina, back through Tennessee and home over those 17 days. But if you're interested in more of a recap of that tour, definitely check out our Patreon linked down below. And if you're either a $1 or a $5 a month subscriber, you will get access to that added content with the recap with some photos and videos from our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful fall tour. We had a great time. It was a really long time to be away from the shop and the studio, but we had a really good time. We got to spend a lot of time doing things for ourselves and out and exploring. And so I'm excited to recap that with you all on Patreon. And then this last weekend, we were up in Wisconsin again, outside the Milwaukee area for a trunk show at Fox River Fibers. Heather, the owner there, is a wonderful hostess for us each year. I think this is year 3, and we already have year 4 tentatively on the books for next fall as well, which should be on Halloween itself, which is a Saturday. We will be at Fox River back in 2026. All right. So let's just jump right into the crafting since I didn't spend too much time recapping the last 2 months. I don't have a ton to show, but I have progress and I do have a finished object. So the first thing that I finished my pair of Campfire Night socks, which look like this. I was knitting these as part of our, sorry, my mirroring is all off. I was knitting these as part of our Create and Collaborate Club for Q3 here at the store, and we had challenge criteria of knitting socks, using fingering weight, and the color orange. So I had Andy pick out this sock yarn, which is Redbird Yarn Studio Simple Sock in the Campfire Nights colorway, along with the orange mini that came with the sock set. And I knit these on a size 1 US 2.25 millimeter needle. And I did finish these in time to get done for Create and Collaborate. So I was worried that they weren't going to get done, but they have been sitting on the sock blockers for over a month, and Andy finally has a fresh pair of socks to add to his sock drawer. I know he's excited to get these. So I do my typical forethought, afterthought heel, which just is another version of the rounded toe. But I do add a couple of more rows before I start decreasing after I pick up the stitches for the heel. And yeah, it's my go-to sock recipe. If you have any questions, you can leave me comments down below, but I've gone over it plenty of times in past videos, so you could check them out there. That is the only thing I did get finished, but I did make progress on a couple of different projects. So the first work in progress that I'm going to show you today is called Stole by Theresa Gaffey. And I am using Isager yarn, Alpaca 2 in 9 different colors using a size 5 US, which is a 3.75 millimeter needle. And I am on the 9th color finally. Hopefully this will be done when I record in December because it needs to be off the needles. But it is just a color blocked ribbed stole out of alpaca yarn. So you can see all the way down there. And I'm finally in this yellow section. And I'm enjoying this a lot. It is pretty mindless, it is monotonous, and I'm ready for it to be done, but it is great for TV knitting. It's just slow going a little, you know, it's the same thing over and over. So I am working on this. It should be hopefully done by next episode, I would hope. This was a kit that I picked up at a Stitches event, I believe, in Atlanta many years ago, from the Yarnery, which is a local yarn store based out of Minnesota. And I had liked the sample, so I picked it up, and it took me that many years to get the project on the needles, but that's my whole entire stash, is just projects waiting to get on the needles. So that's been going. I also did work quite a bit on my So Basic Sweater DK by Maxim. I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Targhee Twist in the red-handed colorway, using sizes 3 and 5 US, which is a 3.25 and a 3.75 millimeter needle. And I did get the body done before I left on our yarn tour. However, I did not get it done to wear on our tour. I left the sleeves to knit when I got home, and I have started on the sleeves. Now, I do need to weigh my yarn because I needed 6 skeins for this project, and we dye 5 in a pot, and my second pot did not match my first one as well as I would like. So I did use the darker color at the ribbing of the collar as well as the bottom ribbing. You can see it is a little bit darker, and you can see some shifts in color with throughout the body, but I have tried it on. It fits great. I love the way Maxim's sweaters sit around the neck, especially on the men with a short rows in the back. It's not an open boat neck. It sits lovely. I've done a couple of his sweaters, and I find that he is the best fitting sweater patterns for men that I have found in my own experience. So I am working on the first sleeve, and this is my last skein of the regular color, but I need to weigh it and make sure that I only use 50 grams, and then I'll use the rest of the darker color for the remainder of the sleeve, but that way I can make my sleeves match approximately with when that color change happens. But I am magic looping on the sleeve, but the body is done. So it's going. It's interesting seeing a smaller size sweater for me. I'm not used to that, but it does fit wonderfully. And I don't remember, I don't remember what size I'm actually doing. Let me check for you really quick. Oh, I am doing the size 5, which I think is a 48-inch bust. Yeah, and it's meant to have an intended positive ease of 2 to 6 inches, and I think I'm sitting at around a 45, and I didn't want it to be too big or too, frumpy. So yeah, I'm doing the 48-inch bust. I used to do everything at 50 or larger, and I was like, you know what, let's go down a little bit, see how it fits. I believe my gauge is on point. I've measured, but you never know. Gauge lies because it's gauge. So that's going. I was glad to get the sleeves picked up and start that last final stage of the sweater once I got back from our fall yarn tour. And then while we were on the road, I took 2 new hat projects to work on for our niece and nephew for Christmas, because I wanted to focus on just simple, small projects that I could hopefully get a good deal of progress on. While we were on the road, I didn't get as much as I would have liked, but still I was able to get them on, and they're going very well. So the first pattern that I picked is a tied and true one, especially for gifting hats to gentlemen, and that is the Jacques Cousteau hat by Lalla Pohjanpalo. Excuse my butchering of that name. But I have knit, this is the 3rd time I've knitted. I knit one for Andy, and I knit one for Andy's dad, which we did get back after he passed. But it is a great 2x3 ribbed pattern that is great for, any size head, because the ribbing will, my yarns are all discombobulated. The ribbing will fit any head size. I am doing the larger, there's 2 sizes in this free pattern. I am doing the larger of the 2. And it is like I said, a ribbed hat with a swirling decrease. So this is out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Dramaturg in our Windchill colorway, which is this electric blue. Our nephew selected this color out when he was last at the shop this summer. And so I knew I had to knit a hat for him out of this. So it is meant to be a rolled over hat with a double thick brim. So I do have to go another 1.5 or 2 inches before I start the decreases, but it will be kind of that Watchman type hat once it's rolled up. And I just love the feel of Dramaturg. That Superwash Merino is just the bee's knees, if I do say so myself. So did some decent progress on a DK weight hat. Now, I always get confused when I go back because I've always used DK. I like the squish factor of DK. It's written for a sport. I've always knitted at DK. It's a great DK hat pattern. So, and I'm knitting that using a size 4 US, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle. The other hat that I selected for our niece is the Musselburgh by Ysolda Teague. This is where you start at the crown, you knit almost all the way through the skein or to the length that you want, and then you close it up, and then you shove one side inside of itself and make a double thick hat, and then you can even roll up the brim. So this is being knit out of Araucania Yarns Huasco Sock Prism paints in the Hologram colorway, which is number 3002. Our niece liked this skein in our store when she was here and asked her mom, because there was only one skein left, if she could get something made out of it. And so I said, well, I'll do a hat. And it is spiraling in these micro stripes, which is really fun. Of course, you know, you did get some pooling and flashing as I was increasing out. I did just count, I didn't do a fancy cast on, I just cast on 8 stitches, and I'm gonna weave those, that end through and cinch it up when I'm done. But I am making good progress on this. This is being knit on a size 3 US, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle. And I'm just going around and around and around until it's the right length, and I will start decreasing at the top. So those are going. Nothing too exciting. I am excited to get some stuff off the needle so I can start some new projects, maybe slightly more engaging. But those are the 4 works in progress that I currently have on the needles. All right, let's talk about spinning. So I did finish a skein of hand spun. This is some Bitter Buffalo Fiberworks, 85% Superwash Merino, 15% Nylon in the Bruja color. And I got 182 yards of a chain ply. So it's a 3-ply, kind of like a crochet chain ply, and it keeps the colors together. So the colors will progress throughout the kind of pistachio into the chartreuse into the varying purples and eggplants. And this is about an Aran weight when all is said and done. And so this is done, but you're going to see this here in just a second. So I was excited to get a finished skein of hand spun off of my wheel. And I did randomly select from my fiber stash my next spin, which I have finished the first 2 ounces and I'm working on the second 2 ounces. And that is some gritty knits, 60% superwash merino, 30% bamboo, 10% nylon in what I'm calling the glacial melt colorway, because it didn't have a colorway name when I got it at DFW in 2024, I think is when I picked that up. So not too old of fiber stash, but I'm excited to be spinning that up. It's wonderful shades of creams and greens and blues. So that's my spinning. In terms of Lego for Andy, he did not give me any direction on what to include in this month's podcast. I do know that he did finish, I think, right there. He is working on the family tree. That is done. I don't know if he's really finished anything else that I know of up off the top of my head. All right, what we're watching and reading, I probably have a list a mile long to share with you, but I decided rather than trying to remember everything, I just went with a show and a movie that I watched this weekend. I did watch the latest season, which is season 3 of The Diplomat on Netflix. I absolutely love this show. I have binged every season within about a 24-hour span. There are 8 to 6 episodes depending on the season, and it stars Kerry Russell. This season also stars Allison Janney, and it is the story of a woman who has become the ambassador for the UK, and her husband is a former ambassador, and there's a lot of political drama and espionage going on, and things just keep intensifying until this latest season in which the White House is greatly involved. And there is just so much fast-paced drama, and the power dynamics of who has power at any given moment due to knowledge and intellectual property is just so much fun to watch. So I highly recommend The Diplomat on Netflix. I then also watched Weapons on HBO. This just started streaming recently, I believe. This has, I can't remember her name. She was from Ozark. Julia Garner, I believe, is her name. She stars in this, and this is a movie about an elementary school teacher and her class of kids. And on one morning, every student in that class, other than one child and the teacher themselves, have disappeared. They all got up and walked out of their homes at 2:17 a.m. And they even have them on, Ring cameras and security cameras, the kids leaving the house. And they don't know, they can't find them. And it's over a month before really the story kind of picks up and you start following it. Needless to say, there is a visitor in one of the child that is left. There is a visitor in their home, and I will leave it at that. Aunt Gladys has come to stay, and it was a good movie. It was a different take. I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it if you're looking for a thriller, suspense, kind of dark, mysterious movie. So, all right, let's talk stash enhancements. So I only picked up a few things on all my travels. While I was at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, I was a couple of booths down from Knits and Pearls, whom I've had the pleasure of knowing for quite a few years now. And she had her Wisconsin Sheep and Wool colorway for 2025 called Caffeinated Unicorn on her faux cashmere, which I picked up a braid of her faux cashmere earlier this year at another event, and I really love the feel of it. It is completely synthetic, but it is soft as butter, and here it is. So I will definitely be chain plying this to try to keep that shifting color fade progression throughout the braid when I do spin it. But I mean, come on. Yeah, I kind of had to. So I picked that up at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool. And then I picked up, new to me, I had heard of this company only in the last year or so. While at a woolen affair on the Thursday night preview in New York, I thought this booth is going to be bombed the next day. So during the preview event, when it was relatively slower for most of us, I went down a couple of booths to Explorer Knits, based out of the Portland area, I believe, Portland, Oregon. I could be wrong. They're in that part of the country. And a friend of mine had told me about their company. And so I went down there to check them out, and I picked up 3 skeins. 2 are for me and 1 is a gift for the friend that told me about that company. So I picked up a skein of their Denali sock, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. It's in the same twist as our Spotlight base, but this is a merino nylon instead of BFL nylon. And then this is in the colorway Fire. So I just loved some of those really fun colors in there. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this. In fact, maybe, I know Hohe's Mystery Knit Along, the One Skein Wonder came out. Maybe I'll do that with this. And then I have a use for it. So I just thought it was pretty. And then I picked up 2 skeins of their Rockies DK, which is 100% superwash merino. It's 274 yards in the colorway Upstate, which is kind of their New York sheep and wool, Rhinebeck, a woolen affair color. And so I picked up 2 skeins, 1 for me and 1 for my friend, Steven, for our holiday gift. So Steven, if you're watching, surprise. But I thought we could do the Jacques Cousteau hat, 1 for each of us out of this. And it's kind of, you know, he wasn't there, but it's in remembrance of me getting to see them in real life, since he told me about Explorer Knits. And since it's kind of their upstate New York colorway, I thought it was a fun memento for us. So I picked that up from Explorer Knits. And then while we were at SAF in North Carolina the following weekend, I had the pleasure of meeting, what was her name? Let me get it here. Valerie of Sunset Fiber Co. And she came into our booth, introduced herself, and we chatted for quite a bit. And then later that afternoon, I had a chance to walk around to the other booths because she was in the other building from us. And so I took some time there, and she had these pairings of mohair silk along with her MCN fingering for the Sophie shawl. And so I picked up these 2 skeins. This is her Luxe sock, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% recycled nylon, 437 yards in the colorway Lilac. And then I picked up this skein of mohair, 437 yards, 70% super kid mohair, 28% mulberry silk in the colorway Blueberry Lemon Pavlova. So it's mostly natural with these speckles of that darker purple, and I thought that would be so much fun together to knit as a Sophie shawl. And so I picked that up at SAF. And I think I was relatively restrained for myself. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Some new stash to me. Sorry if you can hear that. We have those big trucks and essentially leaf vacuums that go through around this time of year around town, sucking up all the leaves. That is the one nice thing about our town. We do not have to do the brown paper bag refuge for yard waste. They just kind of, you sweep all your leaves to the street. Have we done that? No, we haven't been home to do any yard work. And yesterday we took yesterday off and just did laundry and didn't do any yard work like we were supposed to, but we needed a day off. It had been over a month since we had a day off and we enjoyed it. So yeah, that's what I picked up on the road for stash enhancement. Moving right along into our auction for our Patreon subscribers. In the month of September, we were auctioning off the Be Anything shawl designed by Michelle Steed of Crafty Flutterby Creations. And I got to see her not only, we were right next to her at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, but I got to catch up with her a couple of times at SAF. And this was an old sample of ours that was done by a sample knitter, but it was out of 2 colors that are no longer able to be dyed. They've been discontinued. So I passed it along as an auction to our Patreon subscribers. And luckily, we were able to raise $85 for our continued efforts to maintain and improve the historic Taylor McGill building here in Clinton, Illinois, which is the home front for our storefront, our craft store, which we own and want to continue to maintain and hopefully improve. And you all are a great part of that. So thank you so much. That being said, for the month of November, we are going to be auctioning off this skein of handspun. Since I don't have anything finished knitting wise to auction off, I figured rather than putting this in the shop, I would auction it off to our Patreon subscribers. So again, this is 85% Superwash Merino, 15% Nylon, 182 yards of an Aran weight chain plied handspun. The starting bid for this will be $22, which is the cost of the fiber when I purchased it. I do ask that you increase your bid from at least $1 more than the last bid, and the auction will end at the end of November, and the winner will be invoiced via Lederman Fiber Arts. So stay tuned for that. That will be posted on our Patreon group here shortly after the video is uploaded. And if you would, please check out our Patreon down below. There's quite a few perks for being a member. Whether you're at the $1 or $5 a month tier, all of that is explained down below. And please share our Patreon with any of your friends. We would love to build the community over there. And if you are a Patreon subscriber and you would like to email us at leadingmenfiberarts@gmail.com and share with us any of your recent makes that you've made with not only Leading Men Fiber Arts yarn, but anything that you have purchased from our store, whether online or in person, I would love to do a highlights reel at the end of our Dramatic Knits podcast showcasing your work as well. So please just shoot us an email with any photos and information you would like to share with our viewers, and I'd love to showcase your talents as well. All right, let's focus on things that have been going on in the shop. I'm not going over everything because there's way too much to cover in the last 2 months, but I did want to share with you our new November colorway of the month, which is called Campfire. And it is, it lays down bands of black and orange and red and yellow with this kind of peeking through little pops of white to soft gray. And it's a bit of a different dye style for us. It's a new dye style, and we're super excited to share that with you. So you've seen photos of the beauty shot and the swatch. Here it is on Showstopper. And you can see there all the colors involved. And we do currently have it up for pre-order until the 8th on all of our yarn bases. We do also have sock sets and hat sets. The sock sets come with our Give a Hoot colorway, which is this nice warm brown, definitely reminiscent of wood and kindling, which goes with the campfire theme. So you can check that out. I will also have it linked in the show notes down below this video. I also wanted to show off 2 new samples we got in this shop. If you know me, you know that I do not like to knit fiddly. I don't do small things in the round that are fussy, but we have recently been in contact with a new sample knitter to us, and she loves doing stuffies. So she has done 2 for us already. We are going to be mailing out a 3rd sample to her, yarn for a 3rd sample here shortly. The first one she did for us was Paula the Black Cat. This is by Jessie Ostermiller. It is one of her Halloween friends. And this was the 2024 Halloween friend. This used 5 skeins, 5 mini skeins on our showstopper base, along with some extra materials like stuffing, pipe cleaners, felt, glue, that kind of stuff, which luckily our sample knitter, I believe her name is Moni, did a wonderful job and embellished all that herself, which is amazing. I then sent her yarn for this year's Halloween friend, and she got it done in record time and back to us. Let me introduce you to Wanda the Witch. So this is Wanda. She also uses 5 showstopper mini skeins. She has a hat along with a wonderful green hair and her sweater and leggings, and she's adorable. So, and again, you do need a little bit of felt and stuffing for her. But yeah, so we're excited to have Paula and Wanda. We'll probably get the other ones done throughout the year so that we have all 5. But we're also working on getting some gnomes done as well. Excuse me, that lemonade always gets me after lunch. I also did want to show you a postcard. This is a new design that recently came out. This was our final Q4 design for our designer in residence for our cast of characters mini skein yarn club. If you're interested in our mini skein yarn club, you can check out the homepage at leadingmenfiberarts.com. Scroll down till you see cast of characters mini skein yarn club and click the button. It'll give you all the details and then take you to where you can subscribe. You get 5 mini skeins a month, just going in alphabetical order through all of our 300 plus colors. And every quarter you get a design inspiration postcard from our designer in residence with a brand new design intended for you to use mini skeins. So this year in 2025, our designer in residence was Sierra Kroon, who goes by All Knit Up Designs. And this was her final installment, which is the applesauce cowl. This uses 6 skeins of 6 mini skeins. And we loved the combo that she put together so much that we actually created this combo of neutrals to golds as the applesauce gradient. So you can find those on our website. Currently, we do have them in stock. So if you want to make the cowl exactly the same color combo, you can grab one of those applesauce gradients to do that. Or you can grab 6 minis of your choice and create the cowl as well. So wanted to show you that and talk to you about our mini skein yarn club. I also want to just reiterate, if you are local to the Central Illinois area, we do have weekly meetups here at the store right where I'm sitting. We have something going on every day of the week usually. On Tuesdays, we have our Create and Collaborate Club from 6 to 8 p.m. On Wednesdays, we have our Handcraft Gathering from 1 to 3. On Thursdays, Cross Stitchers Connection from 1 to 3. And on Fridays, we have our Crochet Hookup from 4 to 6 p.m. And then on Saturdays, once a month, we have our Crafternoon. Our November Crafternoon is going to be on Saturday, November 22nd. But we also have a lot of our classes on Saturdays. So you can check out all of our current classes that are available under the events section on the homepage of our website, as well as we have some things going on November 15th, which I'm super excited to share with you. So we are going to be hosting Bumblebee Acres Fiber Farm for an in-person trunk show on Saturday, November 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The ladies of Bumblebee Acres are coming down from Northern Illinois. They are good friends of ours, and they don't usually do in-person events other than a few shows, but they are coming down to spend the day with us, and they're bringing some of their yarn as well. So we would love if you'd spread the word with your friends and come out and see us and them on Saturday, November 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That afternoon, we are going to be doing our Scraptastic Advent mini skein swap from 1 to 4. This is an annual tradition, but you do need to sign up via the sign up link on the homepage of our website for the Advent swap. so that we know that you're coming. We do provide bottled water as well as Jimmy John's sandwiches, and then we do open it up as a potluck for all attendees who have signed up to bring a dish in to share. And we have a good time eating food. We do our mini skein swap. You bring 24 5-gram fingering weight mini skeins that are packaged in a way that you can't see them. So you could ball them up into a piece of tin foil, or you can buy fancy packaging, but they just need to be individually packaged. Some people put pieces of candy or stitch markers or other treats in their individually packaged minis. And then you come with your 24, we swap them, and you go home with 24 new mini skeins to use in a project. This year for 2025, our focus project is on Confectionery by Lisa K. Ross, Paper Daisy Creations. It uses 24 stripes in the scarf, so it works out perfectly. You just have to pick out a main skein to go with it. We are asking that the mini skeins that you bring in to swap this year are in the warm family. So think reds, pinks, oranges, yellows, warm neutrals to the tan, gold, browns, those types of things, but more on the warm side. We did cool toned yarn last year. This year we're focusing on warm tones. Nothing too highly variegated, very soft speckling or semi-solid, so that we can have a bit of more of a cohesive project at the end of this. All right, we are open every Saturday in the month of November. We do have classes going on. We had a class this last Saturday. We have a class this Saturday, the 8th, even though Andy and I will be on the road. And then we have our trunk show / Advent swap. Then we have Crafternoon. We also will probably have another class on the morning of the 22nd, a Learn to Knit class. So we've been busy around the store, which is great. Our staff has been absolutely amazing. They kept us running full steam ahead while we were on the road, and I can't thank all of them enough. They have been just really good for us and growing and having all facets of Leading Men Fiber Arts, from the studio and yarn dyeing to traveling the country and selling yarn to having our storefront and building our local community here in Illinois. We are able to handle all of that now because of the wonderful ladies that we have working for us, and we can't thank them enough. So if you come into the shop, you will come across our wonderful staff, Anna, Kristen, Mary, and Sue. They have been wonderful, and they will definitely greet you with a smiling face and love to hear about what you're working on or help you plan for your next project when you're here at the store. Or if you call, you're probably talking to them most of the time. All right, don't forget to check out the Leading Men Fiber Arts Ravelry group, as we do have a number of knit-alongs going on at any given point, usually 3. So check those out if you're interested in a knit-along. We have coupon codes as well as gift certificate prizes over there. And last but not least, where are we going to be in November? We are going to be at Village Yarn Company this coming Saturday, November 8th. I don't have the hours down off the top of my head, but it's our normal store hours this Saturday. I am super excited to be going back to Village Yarn Company. And Katie is a wonderful owner of that store, and we always have a good time. I'm also looking forward to, there is a cross-stitch store in Zionsville, so I'm hoping to pop out at some point during the day and let Andy run the trunk show, and I am going to go to the cross-stitch store and check that out. So that's pretty much all I have to go over with you in the last 2 months. I tried to be a little bit streamlined to not make this too long of an episode. But again, if you're interested in a recap of our fall yarn tour, please check out the Patreon link down below and subscribe if you want to check out that video for additional content, as well as getting the perks of being a Patreon subscriber. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Click the like, thumbs up button and subscribe if you would. I would greatly appreciate it. And share my channel with friends of yours. I'm all about community and building community and making friends. And I hope that you have a great month with your making. And until I see you in December, can you believe it's going to be the last month of 2025 the next time we chat? I can't. But until I see you in December, I hope you have a wonderful month of making, and I will check you out next month. Bye.